The book is better. Except we're not talking about a book, we're talking about a video game. And season 2 of HBO's adaptation of The Last of Us didn't quite reach the nearly impossible highs of The Last of Us Part 2. Thematically, in the macro, it stays consistent with The Last of Us Part 2, at least up to the point that we are in the story, which is about half the game, a little less than half. The problem is that I do believe that The Last of Us Part 2 has elite level writing and storytelling. So for the actual season of television that we got, to stop short of that, to stop at good, solid most of the time, feels like a pretty big step down. For me, it lands at a solid 3 out of 5. Let's talk about some of the positives first. The season eventually lands at a place where Ellie is supposed to be at the end of the game, right? The idea that revenge and obsession as a self-consuming force is present in this story. By the end of day 3 in the game, Ellie is unlikable. You're not really supposed to like her or side with her that much. You understand and you feel the anger that she had for Joe at the beginning. But by the end of day 3, you're exhausted. She's exhausted. And it really makes you question the decisions that led Ellie to that point. So on that front, this season accomplished that. But there are a couple of structural and pacing issues that have held this season back, and a lot of it revolves around Ellie. I actually think that my single biggest gripe is that we had the Joel and Ellie flashbacks condensed into one episode, whereas in the game, the flashbacks and the moments and her memories of Joe are sprinkled throughout her days in Seattle. That decision to sprinkle the memories really adds additional tension and guilt to each decision that Ellie then makes. Instead, day 1 and half of day 2 is spent sort of fleshing out Ellie and Dina's relationship, which I don't think necessarily is a bad thing, but then when you consider that we are in a 7-episode season and now we're 5 episodes deep, that's where things start getting shaky. So by the time Ellie starts making questionable decisions like going after Nora instead of going back with Jesse and Dina, subsequently her deciding to not follow Jesse to find Tommy and going after the place that Nora said, the aquarium, to potentially find Abby, and then the encounter with Owen and Mel, not to mention sort of getting derailed by having her wash up on the Seraphite Island. All of those really heavy and dreadful moments felt a little rushed, because up until episode 7, we didn't really have any moment to breathe and live in the dread. That's why I like the interactions with Jesse and Ellie, because finally we got someone saying like, what are you doing? You're being very selfish, which she was in the game as well. But unfortunately, because of the 7 episodes and because we spent so much time, about 3 episodes in Jackson and her leading up to Seattle, we didn't really have the time needed to flesh out those moments. So in a 7-episode season, you spent 3 episodes setting up the premise of Ellie's story of part 2, and that's where the fault is. Because in reality, let's think about this a little bit. If we give Ellie a little more action, a couple more kills in episodes 4 and 5, the tone might be improved a bit, but you still have the pacing issue. We really only got one like actually mid-level episode, and everyone acts like suddenly it's 2022 Halo again. Add on that the writing is not nearly as subtle. The show constantly hits you at the viewer over the head with its themes, but even then, I don't think it constitutes for calling this a bad season of television. I think Jesse, Ellie, and Dina, despite some of the faults, still put on really strong performances. Season 3 really needs to be a full-fledged 10-episode season, and it can't just be 3 days of Abby in Seattle and a flashback episode. Luckily, in the short screen time that we had Caitlin Dever as Abby, I think she is knocking it out of the park. She has Abby's presence, if not, the muscle version that we got in the game. So while I still think that season 2 is good, it could have been great, and that's kind of sucks to admit as someone who loves these 2 games and really do think that it's some of the best writing in any medium. But yeah, those are my quick thoughts on this season. Let me know what you think, and if you say anything about Bella Ramsey's face, just get blocked. Just go away.